What's up, everyone, and welcome to another Bitcoin market update. In these videos, you will learn how to use technical analysis to forecast price movements in your favorite cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and others. So let's dive into Bitcoin itself on the weekly time frame. So starting off here on the weekly time frame, we are looking at this price action right here. So we've had a higher low set here the week of July 19th. In comparison to our higher low from June 21st here. So you see we come down, we wick below this low and this low here, and we what's called grab the liquidity there, which means we go below both of those lows. But what happens is when we go below those lows, it's very short-lived. And we wick below them and then we close way back up here. And this is where we then see us come up and set a lower high in comparison to right here, and we come down and set a higher low. Now, once we set this higher low and then we see this nice increase in bull volume right here, and this rise in price to make a higher high above this key high, now we're seeing if the bulls can actually fall through in the coming weeks here and really push this thing to new heights here, at least in the short term. So this is all coming off of our light blue support zone here that we had printed back here in January when we had our bull trend of a low, high, higher low, and then higher high. So this last down candle right here before this up move is where the support is. And the reason for that is because this is the last area where people were selling their Bitcoin on this time frame. And so once they see the established bull trend, once we return to that zone, it enables them to buy that asset back at the previous prices that they sold it at. So that might be what we're seeing right here. What I'm interested to see here is how the price kind of develops. Right now, it's kind of chopping around in this zone, and it's looking like it's operating above that. So we want to see if this actually continues higher here. After now we've broken above the light blue zone here. You can see this candle closed above it here for the first time since June 7th. So that's good news for the bulls. So resistance level is really the R2 pivot up here at about 46,300. If we break down this week and we set our weekly lower set this last 2 weeks ago. So the reason is because of the magnitude of this move. This move was pretty significant in size. So this is over 45% move here in price from this low to this high. And so if we come down and break below this previous week's low at 35,255. Sorry, I can't even really see it. Yeah, 35,255. Then that will end up giving us most likely a higher low shortly thereafter. Somewhere below that, because it's really unlikely for us to come up, form this high, and then come down and just go for a new lower low. It's possible, but it's very unlikely in my opinion. So that is that. If we go to the 3-day time frame, you can see that we have in fact set our high here after we've had this nice bull run up. We set our high and we broke below this 3-day candle's low today. In this 3-day candle, I should say. And so that is something that I'm keeping an eye on now. Now what I'm watching is how the price develops over the next 23 hours. Because if we see increasing bear volume here over the next 23 hours, and we see a shorter lower wick here of people selling and not many people buying the dip, then the next 3-day candle could see further lower prices. So we'll see what we end up getting there in the coming days, but the lower time frames can kind of be our guide here as to where price might be going next. So from a 3-day perspective, the other thing I wanted to point out is 2 key support and resistance levels. One is right here from March 2nd. This is where we had our bull trend up here. From a low, high, higher low, higher high perspective, we come back down into the zone, test the support here, and then finally once we close below it here, this should turn into resistance on the first test. So that starts at about 47K. And then the other key level is this support zone down here from July 9th. So this is where we had our bear trend here. And once we came down and confirmed this bear trend, we pushed right through this zone. So now if we return to this zone at some point in the future, this will likely be a support zone for price that I will keep an eye on. All right, let's go down to the 2-day real quick. So the 2-day time frame, this closes in 23 hours, but you can see yesterday's 2-day candle was very bearish here. So this candle, very long body here with a very short lower wick of people buying the dip. Therefore, once this 2-day candle opened, it was very likely that we would go below the previous 2 days low as well as this low from July 30th. And that's what we've done. And now we're going into this gray support zone here that we've tested already once right here as support. So this zone is a zone that acted as resistance for us right here. This is just classic what we consider a support resistance flip zone. So now that we've seen, this is our bull trend right here. Low, high, higher low, higher high. We push through this zone, okay? This candle right here is the level we're watching. We come back into it here, reject off of it, come back into it again, reject off of it. And now once we come through it and close 2 candles above it, once we retest it here, it's now support. That is exactly what we got here with a very nice bullish candlestick here. And then this candle did not really follow up very well. After that point, we wicked slightly above it here, and then we traded down below. And now are coming down, obviously. So now what I'm going to be watching is how this 2-day candle closes. If this 2-day candle closes below this key low from July 30th, then that's bearish in my opinion. If we close above it, then that's pretty good news to the bulls, and we may see continuation in the coming days. So this 2-day level, I've talked about it over the past several days. I think it might have one more bounce in it before it gets too weak and we end up breaking through it. Because you saw right here, I talked about this in this area. I said, if we retest it again, it's probably likely that it'll still hold as resistance on a second test. And that's what it did right here. So this is kind of the same scenario. If we go into it like we are now, it's probably going to hold for support one more time. Maybe. We'll see. It depends on how the next kind of 23 hours go, basically the next day. So if we look at this from a daily candle perspective, real quick, you can see we have this increasing bear volume here, which is, if you're a bear, very good news. If you're a bull, obviously not very good news. Yesterday's candle was not very convincing in terms of bulls pushing the price up, or that this drawdown is going to stop today. When you see increasing bear volume and you see the candle closing below this key daily low here, this is starting to potentially invalidate this as a liquidity run on the stop losses below this low, and is looking more like just a sustained kind of pullback after this tremendous run up in price. So what I'm watching is the next, like I said, 23 hours to see where this candle closes. If this candle closes above this key low, then bulls are not in that bad of shape. If it closes below, in my opinion, it's more validation to see lower prices in the coming days, at least in the short term. So if we look at this from a 12-hour perspective, we talked about this level yesterday. This is very simple support and resistance here. So we're coming up right here in price. You can clearly see this is a bull trend, right? High, low. So we have low, high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. And then obviously now we have a lower low right here for the first time. And so that's changing kind of the way that the price is moving. So now this purple zone is what we're keeping an eye on. So this purple zone is this area right here, the last down candle before that up move that is confirming this continuation of the bull trend. And so this zone is getting pushed through right here. But this, like I said up here, this should be support when we come into it. But if it doesn't act as support and we push right through it, then this area where price bounced off of right here is going to end up resisting price if we come into it again. So the bottom of these two candles will end up resisting price if we get two candle closes below this key low, in my opinion. So we got one of them just in the last 12 hours. We have this longer lower wick of people buying the dip, so I'm going to be interested to see how the next 12 hours plays out. If we come up from here and form a low, or if we close below the key low right here and turn this purple zone into resistance. So that's the main zone I'm watching there. Besides that, the other area that I'm watching is above this, and that is this yellow zone here, which is a 12-hour resistance level back here from this bear trend right here. So this is 43.2 up to about 45.8. So that's kind of what we're looking at right now on price on all these different time frames. The only other thing I would note is let's look at a couple of these indicators. So if we look at this from a super guppy perspective, the expectation here is that this is going to bounce because of these green EMAs. So these flipped after being bearish for quite some time. Now they're flipping to be bullish, and we're testing them potentially as support right here. You can see when we wicked into it, people were buying that dip, and now we are, trading up a little bit at least from the previous candles, well, from the open basically. And then if we look at this from an Ichimoku cloud perspective, this is actually in the most bullish pattern that it can be in, folks, on the 12-hour time frame. So right now we have the Tenkin above the Kijun, both of those above the cloud. The cloud has flipped to be green. The price action is, or the price rather, is operating above the Kijun, the Tenkin, the blue line, at 38,261. So this is good news for the bulls if we want to see continuation there. So right now that is something that I am also keeping an eye on, and we may see that propel price up in the coming days. So that's all I got for this one, guys. If you like this video, give it a like down below and subscribe for future educational content around cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology. And if you haven't already, check out our beginner technical analysis course that we released on Leutheria.com. This is where you can find all of the foundational information that you need to get started trading crypto assets with accuracy and precision. You'll learn everything from candlestick analysis to volume analysis to trend analysis to a ton of other stuff as well. So check that out, or you can get 20% off that course using the link in the description below. We also have our Leutheria Signals channel that I would encourage those of you who are interested in trading these crypto assets to check out as well. So this is where you can get unlimited 24/7 access to all of our trading ideas related to buying and selling Bitcoin and Ethereum. So if you'd like to get 24/7 access to that, you can send an email to team@leutheria.com and you can get 50% off your first month's subscription, which is something that we're doing to really show our appreciation for the early members that are joining our community. And so we really appreciate all of you guys supporting us at these early stages. And so you can get 50% off that by sending an email to team@leutheria.com. We'll send you the information that you need to get started, which is just a simple form that you fill out, and then you will get access to the group. All right, until next time, onward and upward.